Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic, and welcome to this very special report, Trauma Soul Healing, with, of course, Medina and Janine. Let me first introduce my co-host for tonight. Of course, it's the beautiful and wonderful Janine. You can find her at Sending Ravens and also at Tarot by Janine. Janine, welcome back to the show.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Medina. So happy to have you on. I'm Jean-Claude.
Hi. Thank you so much for being on, Janine. I'm excited to do this show with you, but let's first introduce our very special guest here for tonight. Of course, for the audience, you can find Medina here at medina.com, and you can also find her here on her YouTube channel, Arise Humanity with Medina. Medina, welcome to the Beyond Mystic audience.
I'm so thrilled to be here. It's really an honor, and just to be able to contribute in this way to the collective is just such a gift for me. Everyone's wanting to contribute at the moment that I meet. They're all wanting to try and help make the world a better place and shift the current paradigm. And this opportunity is such a gift. And I also want to honor you both for the wonderful work you're doing. You're just really touching so many hearts. And really raising consciousness and awareness and making a huge difference. So just want to both acknowledge you for that as well. Thank you for having me. I'm really, really thrilled.
Well, thank you, and you're going to make me blush. I'm not used to receiving enough compliments on my own show, but thank you, Medina. I really appreciate that. Of course, Janine and I work really hard to do all of these amazing shows for you guys. So thank you. Guys, we have a lot to go through tonight. We're going to go backwards a little bit to go forward because we are cognizant that there's probably new people watching this show that don't have necessarily all of the context here, and we want to do this show correctly as best we can. Of course, it is a healing show, and it is very important right now for our collective. But before I do that, of course, it's Medina's first time here on the show, and I always have the same question for my first time guests, and it goes something like this. So Medina, how did universe conspire to bring you to the work you're doing today?
Well, I think when I became a mum, it really activated me to step into my spirituality and to connect to my inner core. And, children often bring that gift, I think. And so I really was inspired to do a lot of inner work for years and years and years. And I think in the back of my mind, I had some sort of cognition that this transition was coming up and that I needed to do a lot of inner work prior to that, so that I could be in a place where I could be of, help at the time that the transition happened. So I was extremely committed and dedicated to my own evolution and working on clearing all my inner soul wounding. And so I think that's probably it. It's interesting because I work in temple space, and I grew up in a place outside of Melbourne, Australia, called Templestowe. So this word kept coming back to me. It was interesting. And my son, one of his very first words he used to say with great passion was Gadish, Gadish, Gadish. And he'd hug me really tight, really passionately. I'm thinking, wonder what this word means. And then I watched the movie Jesus of Nazareth. And as Jesus walked into the temple, they said in the old Aramaic language, now Jesus walks into the Kaddish, which was temple. So, this word keeps coming back to me all the time. And I'm really inspired to do this sort of spiritual work for the collective, because I think, as you mentioned, soul healing is incredibly important right now.
Okay, very good. I'm going to maybe question you a little bit and go further back in time for the audience here who are just trying to discover what makes Medina tick here. So as a young person, were you also attuned to all of these energies, and were you introduced to these types of healing modalities in any shape or form, either here on planet or off world? And how did it transpire to you doing that now as an adult, remembering perhaps or being triggered by your own children? So what was your childhood like?
Well, like so many light workers and healers, I know Janine's mentioned this as well, I was surrounded by energies that were very, very different to my own. They didn't resonate, and they didn't resonate with my energy. I felt like a bit of an alien dropped into another, planet. And so I grew up in that sort of energy where people were around me who didn't really resonate with me and didn't understand. I'm just going to get rid of this hat, it's falling off. They didn't really understand my energy on any level. And so that has been, a challenge, obviously, throughout this lifetime. And it's also been a great gift. So it's, I think, about finding the soul gifts in everything that we experience, and also recognizing that it is a learning that we've chosen ourselves to learn whatever we need to learn. So, I honor and bless all my family members. They're beautiful. I love them. But I do recognize that my energy had some challenges throughout my childhood in feeling seen, feeling validated, feeling acknowledged. I didn't really get a lot of that sort of feeling from the environment that I grew up in.
Okay, very good. And with your permission, Medina, I didn't ask you this before the show, so I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but would it be okay if maybe Janine pulled some cards and to see maybe further back in time what karmic maybe relationships or loops that led you to doing this work in this particular lifetime? Do you want us to pull some cards on that as well?
Oh, totally. I so love that.
Okay. Let's bring it on. So, Janine, what do you think? Just your first impressions here before you pull the cards. What are your impressions here on maybe the connections and why we're all brought to do this work here together at this particular time?
Oh, I think that's becoming more obvious as we do these shows. I think we're all connected, and I think we've had some lifetimes together. At Medina and I kind of had that kind of connection when we first, she wrote me, and I'm just funny. Lots of people say, do you want to come on my show? But I just went, yep, I'm going to go on her show. And I didn't watch any of her things yet. I don't have time to watch a lot of stuff lately, especially. So I just jumped on her show, and I could just I felt really safe and like I knew her before. Yeah. Yes. So there was just this knowing of I'm safe with this person, if that makes any sense. And then also she offered, after she saw one of our shows, where I don't remember which one. Oh, I know, because I mentioned that some friend had really hurt my feelings. And usually I wouldn't say that in public, okay? But it had just happened before the show, and it hurt more than I thought it should. Like, it was a weird, so it felt like a past life reminder of some loop or circle we were in, or karma. Right. And Medine got a hold of me, reached out and said, I can do a healing on you. Would you like that? And actually, I don't usually accept things like that, to be honest. Because if I have never even met the person, I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm just a bit funny. But I right away was like, yeah. And we got on very quickly, I think within the next day or two. And I totally felt comfortable. So we probably know each other, all of us, I bet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see what the cards have to say then. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live on this interactive show. We will try to be taking questions later at the end. We have quite a few things to go through first, but of course, as you can see already, I'm putting your comments up on the screen as we go, as appropriate here. But we will take some questions here later in the show. Okay, go ahead, Jenny.
We knew each other as children. There's a childhood connection here. So that's interesting. That was in a past life, obviously. But there was some kind of big disappointment. Around, like, we were friends and it was really good. But then I get, oh, okay. So one of us, so I'm getting all three of us with that. This is the Three of Cups. So this must have been a lifetime we all spent together.
Wow.
Wow.
We've been getting a lot of those lately, Janine.
Yeah, I think everyone's all looping together. And I get people writing me remembering things about lifetimes, like it's wild. But I think everyone's here healing the planet because we agreed to, and we're a soul family. I really do. We're fighting this demonic bunch and we're on to them because they've messed with us. Anyway, it looks like one of the three of us's mother was very cruel and was very disappointing and cruel, and likely did something like bad to one of the children, one of the three of us. And the other two knew about it in a little child way of course, but usually children won't talk about things like that. Do you know what I mean? I think one of the three of us was being abused, and everything looked good on the surface. So the family that one child came from was a facade of niceness, but the two friends saw what was happening to that third. She was being abused. I think it was you, Medine.
Yeah.
Am I saying at the end, like Medina?
Oh, Medina, yes.
Okay.
Like,
okay, Medina. See,
Somebody just commented in the live chat. It's like that song, funky called Medina.
I know that song follows me everywhere.
Right.
Just don't listen to the words of that song because it's really, really
Yeah,
dodgy.
it's not for this show though. It needs a lot of healing, that song. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. And one of us, so the other one, somebody had other things going on. So it wasn't just the one person, one child. So we all had some issues in our families, like families do, but Medina's looked like it was really bad. Something really bad was going on, abuse. And there was also a really mean father to one of us. So like somebody had a really mean father. So we might have even been friends. We came together because we were all experiencing hardship in our home environment, and we protected and were a solace for each other. And I feel like there was a place we'd all go in a field, and we made some kind of a fort. So it feels to me like a place where the forest feels similar to what you would experience in like northern Alberta or something, but that's a lot of places could be like that, obviously. But it was forested, but not old growth or anything. It feels like a regular forest in northern Alberta, for instance. So if anyone wants to know what it looks like, you can look it up. But this was a field somewhere where deer might have hung out, and we made some kind of a little like makeshift fort. And we used to meet there when things were really bad and sort of be with each other and console each other. So I got this feeling we're all sitting together, but we're like 4, 5, 6. We're not that old. We're young. But we knew already then to be healing each other or being there for each other, and not obviously not judging, because we were so young. We didn't even know, what's going on, but we'd meet up.
Wow.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I just want to echo that I feel that, heart connection with both of you. And from the minute I started watching you both, I just felt this, kinship, resonance. So just want to echo that.
That's very good. And I also noticed that you did a video with Indigo Angel, who's on our show quite a bit. And as of late, we were diving deep down under, and all the things that are happening there. So I'm glad that you guys connected also.
Oh, she's amazing.
Amazing energy.
Such wonderful work. And Australia really appreciates the additional knowledge and information and support at the moment. So it's great. Absolutely. And also Catherine Edwards, I've connected with her, and she's amazing. And we're doing a chat next Monday. So that's really exciting.
Oh, very good. And will that, for the audience here, will that be on your channel or on Catherine's channel?
Oh, Catherine's channel.
On Catherine's. Okay, I'll bring the link up here in a little bit for the audience. Okay, let's go here next as we're talking about Australia. Janine, maybe set this up for the audience here again who haven't seen this show, how this show with Tamara came about, and what came out of it, and what propelled us into this huge healing trajectory that we've been on ever since.
Yeah. Well, I had seen oh my goodness.
Tamara.
I'd seen Tamara many times, and especially on Bryce's show. So Esoteric Atlanta. Yeah. And Tamara, there was a weird connection with her too. Like, I know it sounds weird, but she really liked me as well and expressed that on Esoteric Atlanta. So then I felt comfortable to kind of reach out to her, and ran it by Jean-Claude, who also was like, yeah, let's get her on. She had gave some real good intel and intuitive insights into Australia. And I had looked into it on one of my shows and really just felt compelled to dig deeper with her. And Jean-Claude totally came up with the idea, let's all three do a show. So we get on the show, and right away there's like, so it was weird right from the start in a emotional way. Felt really emotional. Tamara and I felt like literally long lost sisters or something. Like it was weird. And but in a nice kind of weird, eerie way. And right away there was a question came up. How did it come up again, Jean-Claude?
It was me. I was getting the hard voice in my ear. Ask her right now where this connection is between all three of us. And I didn't know, I had no clue where this was going. And I couldn't, I was waiting because I didn't want to interrupt her as she was doing her introduction. But I kept having this huge, just ask. I'm like, okay, I'll ask the question. Pick it up from there, Janine.
And then I did a layout, and Tamara had said something earlier on in her introduction that she loved children and felt really drawn to children. And then I laid out some cards, and I right away said, it's because you were one of the children in the tunnels. You're really connect with children. And so then it started to just tumble out. It was just like a feeling. And then a little later on, I got this whole scenario where we were escaping with a couple other kids between us. So Tamara and I in a boat in a sewer. And it was horrifying and really dark, but we were trying to save these younger kids from the situations that happen in the tunnels with satanic ritual abuse and horrifying things that happen. And we'd all been in that lifetime together. But first I thought I saw Tamara had lifetimes like that. Then it got deeper, and I got her and I, and then people started saying, I think even in the chat, that one of those children might have been Jean-Claude. And Jean-Claude started to didn't you start to get really emotional?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it felt like we'd all been in that boat. And I think he was in the middle, and her and I were on both sides of that boat with a couple other kids squished in there. And we actually managed to save, all of us survived that lifetime. But it was one of the lifetimes we survived the Satanists, but some other lifetimes we didn't. Oh, and also I got that Tamara was, I know the blood diamond story had really touched her. And she had some kind of dream, I can't remember, something to do with the blood diamonds. And
with Hollywood people behind bars, and they all had the red diamonds. Yes.
Yeah. So she mentioned that, and that started off the reading, and that's where I first got, she became a blood diamond. In other words, she was a sacrificed child, and they turned her into a blood diamond. And what we mean by blood diamonds, we don't mean it the way the movie was, blood
Not
diamonds.
the smugglers of diamonds. No,
we're not talking about that. We're talking about she was turned into a diamond, her physical body.
And can I add something to that too, Janine? It's really interesting because when you did the shout out for me, I had a lot of people contacting me for sessions, and I noticed that there was a bit of a theme that some of them had experienced, lifetimes of being in the child trafficking. And so I think potentially the audience here as well, they magnetized towards you because that's something that they're all resonating with on some level, and they're wanting to collectively heal. So we magnetize towards us the things that we've experienced and that we want to heal, and I've really noticed that with the people that have come to me from your recommendation as well. So I feel like that's a real energetic thing that's happening with this channel as well.
Wow.
We're all collectively unifying and healing.
Yeah, on the surface, there's one objective, and then there's all these other objectives that even Janine and I, and perhaps you tonight, Medina, are not aware of, but we're aware that we're not aware of them because there's so many things complex happening at the same time. And Marilyn in the chat is saying, weird, I don't know why I'm emotional. Anyone else? I'm sure there's a lot of people already just in the beginning of this conversation starting to resonate to this field, if indeed they were also perhaps in past lives or even in this life connected to this story. So we're going to get to that, Marilyn, here very shortly. We're just laying down some track for the new audience here, but we are going to talk about protection tonight and the healing aspects of all of this together in I guess an encompassing way. So just bear with us a few more minutes. We're almost done here explaining how we got to this point here tonight. Okay, Janine, back to you here. So yes, I was emotional too, and I got a lot of emails. I had weird dreams that night too, remembering a lot of these things. So a lot of them did come back rushing to me. You and I spoke that night after that video. I was absolutely emotional. You said some things to me also that you had said before, but I had never heard them in that same way before. Because again, you were very emotional on the show. I'm choking now saying this. I had never seen or experienced you that way. So we were all kind of like reeling from this connection and perhaps this trajectory that this had just put us on now to resolve a lot of these karmic loops, issues, traumas, and karmas. So yeah, it was very emotional. And there are a few people mentioned too that I wasn't the same a couple days after the show, also doing other videos, because of course I have a big production schedule, but this was always like percolating, and it's been ever since. Okay, is there any more there you want to add on this video here, Janine, or can we now fast forward another week to this character by the name of Jeanette, with whom or for whom we just did a special investigative report yesterday? So take it up from there.
Yeah, every time I hear Jeanette speak or see her, she's on some shows and been speaking out as a satanic ritual abuse survivor. So as a small child, up until I don't remember the age, I think it was 12 or 13 at least, she was abused horribly, horribly. And often at the hands of royals, UK royals, and elites in UK, but also higher up police. And in particular, they were the ones that would always come and get her for the abuse sessions. Her family was a satanic ritual abuse. In other words, they all came from that and did that to their children. So it wasn't like she had any safety at home. Mm-hmm. And every time she speaks, I feel like I probably knew her too, because I love her for some reason. I have a true deep connection. And people write me all the time and they're always like, oh, she's been called out lying and all this. It's like, you know what? Of course, she's so dangerous to that bunch. They know exactly how to smear somebody's name. Look what they did to Trump, just for a small example. But anyone dangerous to them, they are going to absolutely smear. And there's no way she would be doing what she's doing still. If you look at her, she's getting really nothing but personally healed from it. So why else would she do it? Makes no sense. Mm-hmm. So there's no way I buy any of that. So everybody, if you go look her up, you will see some smears. Just be aware. I feel deeply that she's truthful.
So what was interesting also about the timing of this episode, Janine and I had prepared 2 other shows that we had to record, and we pushed those off the table to record this one because we were being guided to do this one. And as we were doing that, of course, there's other news coming up in the mainstream about these arrests right now, whether that was in Disney World, the Congress, all over the place. So here in Canada too, sexual abuse stuff coming out from the military. And of course, what she is saying also is that it's the military and the police oftentimes that deliver these kids to these events for their security of whoever's running those shows. So that's absolutely incredible. And after we did the show, similar to the one with Tamara, Janine and I were feeling a little bit weird. And so I was guided to reach out to Janine and said, hey, this is a pay-per-view episode, by the way, folks, because we can't put it on YouTube. We went into quite a few difficult, and I put a warning on the page there too, that it's difficult content. But Janine and I want to contribute a significant portion of these proceeds to Jeanette herself. We felt guided to do that. So if you haven't watched any of her pay-per-views before, or even if you have, please support us with this one, and know that it's going to the right place and the right energy. And Janine and I will find a way to support Jeanette here. We're just, again, it came naturally to us that we needed to do that. So we feel honored to be able to be part of this healing process in that way also. Yeah. Okay. Are we almost there, Janine? Is there anything else? Okay. Medina, then. Now, when you reached out to me and Janine to do this show, the whole concept was, okay, we're bringing up and we're dealing in the informational field right now with this huge trauma, this soul collective trauma, and you have experience in dealing with that. And you said, hey, can we do something where we bring these people who are, as you just said, magnetized to this right now because they're attached karmically to this subject matter? Could we do a live healing session? And of course, Janine and I says, hell yeah, let's do it. When's the next spot available on the channel? So let's start here. Explain a little bit. I know, maybe start by explaining briefly in the next 2 or 3 minutes these different modalities that you use, just to kind of situate the audience, and then we'll get into maybe that 10-minute or 15-minute segment afterwards. And then from there, we'll get Janine back on and we'll pull some cards on the efficacy of that healing, how perhaps we're connected to the audience members, how perhaps we can pick some questions also from the audience to kind of tie all of this up together. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And,
okay.
And can I say, I think I've got a connection to Tamara as well, because I used to, I think, chat to her daughter, who's a vet, online. So this shows how we're all interconnected, which is beautiful. So with this work, it's all energy work. And because I'm doing a group healing today, I'm trying to pick work that is very gentle and nurturing, you know, very sort of supportive. It's like a cocoon type energy, because I'm not working one-on-one, so I can't, you know, overlook the session in that way. So I strive to pick some modalities and techniques that are very easy to use. They're very gentle, they're simple, but they're very profound and powerful, and they create big shifts. Energy is incredible. You can shift things so easily with energy, and perhaps people don't realize how much you can shift and how quickly you can shift things. If I could just give a quick example, I had an issue in my own life where there was a situation that might have taken years to resolve, and I was able to resolve it in 1 week with energy work. I'll just give you a little example of it. So we had some land that we bought, and in front of the land was a lady who it was like a battle axe box, and she didn't want anyone in that land behind her. And when we bought the land, we bought it quite cheaply, because the previous owner had so much difficulty with her, and she tried to get him off so many times that he just ended up selling the land cheaply. And so anyway, we bought it, and I was aware of this when we bought it, and I told my partner. He said, that's okay, we'll work with it. And anyway, she proceeded diligently to get us off that block of land, even trying to put an intervention order against my partner so he couldn't even access the land. And so when all that happened, I did a technique, an energy technique, where it was similar to some of the things we're doing today, where I asked for the highest good of all concerned to be achieved. Now, this woman had been harassing a lot of the neighbours, so the neighbours didn't want her there, so that they would be part of it. It was also her highest good, it was our highest good. And what happened was fascinating, so quite miraculous, actually. And if I couldn't, as a physical 3D person, I couldn't resolve this myself in this way. But when you ask for the highest good of all concerned to be achieved, and you're working with the divine and energy work like this, it can just shift instantly. So it ended up that the house went up in flames. It was on the local news, and I think potentially she might have done that herself, but she had insurance on it, and she'd always wanted to move to the country in the middle of nowhere. So she claimed the insurance, had a makeover, looked incredibly different. So she really shifted her energy. She was thrilled. The house was rebuilt, and then these beautiful neighbors moved in front of us. We were ecstatic because we got what we wanted. All the neighbors were happy because she wasn't there anymore. And this was in 1 week of energy work, this happened. So this is how profound energy work can be. And it really can shift things much quicker than when you're trawling through the physical density of the, reality that we're in here. So I just wanted to say that as an inspiration, that this work really does work. And it's important as well where your intention is with it. So if you have a strong faith and intention that it will work, then, it's much more likely to be able to shift and clear quickly and easily. So it's about releasing any sort of mental body doubts as well. So the work that I'm working with is just some different areas, like working with setting up temple space, a beautiful sacred space to work in when we go in, and then working from the unconditional space of the heart, grounding our energy, being mindful of the solar plexus, the power center, working with the ultraviolet purple flame and Archangel Michael's golden sword of truth, which is an incredibly powerful tool or resource to use at the moment, working with the lords of karma, and then doing what I hope will be a profound soul wounding, trauma healing visualization, just with a beautiful rainbow bridge to unify any separation that's happened at a soul level. So when our soul wounding occurs, there's a thing that occurs which is separation of our soul. It can split and go out. So when you unify all aspects of your soul and your trauma wounding, then you feel much more centered and peaceful and whole again. And it's so important too that we focus our energy and attention on soul evolution while we're here in this reality, because there is really nothing more important. And, when we do our individual work to evolve as a soul, then collectively it really shifts the planet. And I can't, emphasize that enough at the moment. And this is an opportunity that we're given now with everything externally that's happening around us to really utilize that as a motivation for us to really step into that soul healing. And then I'm going to finish with some work for just the children and the originals on the planet. In Australia here, we have had instances of the original people being rounded up and what. So I'd really like to finish with that. And as a thing I'd like to say in preparation to what we're doing, I do visualize this as like, it's like a crucifixion energy. And I know David Wilcox talks about that. It's like a planetary crucifixion where we go into our wounding and our suffering, we meet our shadow, we transmute that, and then it becomes a rebirth and like a resurrection. And I think that's a really good analogy to use with this soul healing work. And I must say that even in the midst of everything that's going on around me in Australia, and all the ridiculously dystopian regulations and everything, I, on a personal level, have able to get to a frequency in my life where it's really beautiful in many ways. I'm living in my most beautiful location. I have beautiful energies around me, beautiful friends, and so things are working well with me on that personal level, regardless of the external that's playing out, because I'm striving to transmute and raise my frequency. And so it is something hopeful for people to know that even in the midst of everything that's going, that's external. So when you do the internal work, you still can rise above and move forward in huge ways at the moment on a soul level.
Can Jean-Claude?
Hold on, my mic was muted. Janine, do you have anything to add to that before we get into this session?
I just wanted to, I hadn't even remembered to tell Madeline. Did I say her name right?
Medina.
It's
Medina.
Rhymes with Ballerina. Medina.
Don't take it personally, because I do this all the time, especially if I really like somebody. you did that healing work on me. And I just wanted to tell everybody what my experience was, as I forgot to tell. Excuse me. So we worked on.
Janine and I were coughing a lot in the show yesterday.
Yeah.
On the
Weird.
SRA, we were both emoting quite a bit. I know.
Something goes on with the throat.
Yeah.
We worked on that, Medina, and it was like really calming and healing. But then I'd still had the issue with this longtime, very, very best friend, even though I knew more about it spiritually. You were bang on with how you described what maybe happened in a past life, because it felt soulfully resonated. I totally went, yep, that's it. You just know when you hear someone intuitive describe a situation, if it's right, you know. So I knew you were right on. And then, but of course, the thing, we were still in this standoff right after I got finished with the healing. But then about 3 days later, the friend texted me and was like acting like kind of nothing happened, maybe didn't notice my hurt or whatever. Okay, you know how that can be. And because she rejected to come to my house, I was assuming it was a whole bunch of things. It seemed like it was. And then she said, well, maybe it was on a deep level, but not necessarily literally. Okay, that wasn't literally why. And she defended her position, and we backed and forthed and came to an absolutely wonderful, it's like we had more respect for each other, and we're even planning things to do in the future when everything chills out. Wow. And I got to say my piece about my political views, and she said her piece, and we said how much we love each other. And yeah, we're totally on a beautiful place.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Yay.
Yes,
I love that. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, because it looked like we were never going to speak to each other again.
Wow. Wow. That's fabulous. Okay, folks, I just put a link on the screen here, beyondmystic.net/Medina. And there I've put together all the files that we're going to be using for this healing session. And you can download those. They're all free. Links to video sessions mostly, and also this beautiful song here that is also healing in and of itself. So that's beyondmystic.net/Medina. I'll bring the link back down in the chat here. So Janine, before we get into the healing part itself, can you maybe pull some cards for the audience who are already reacting, emoting, attuning to some of these frequencies right now, and see what universe can offer in terms of advice here for self-protection, but also how to break out of these karmic loops for their highest good? What can we pull from the cards there?
Oh, interesting. So there's going to be some resistance to energy that's going to be touched by the healing work. So this is resistance, and even some like, so that could be the resistance. And this could be like where you're in denial in your head about something. So something becomes apparent because it looks like it's going to bring up some triggers, some memories, or bring up some thoughts that could be hard for people. And then some of them might go into a bit of a denial, or okay, that must have been somebody else. I'm just feeling somebody else's. Okay, the idea is not to go into denial and talk yourself out of it. Just sit with it. Don't assume anything from the memories. They're yours. They're somebody else's. Never mind. Just sit with it for a few days. It took a few days for everything to just clarify itself after I had that work done. And everybody might experience the same thing. It could come up and out of you. And then you'll see the shift energetically in your life, not necessarily right that same night or tonight, that sort of thing. Yes, give it at least 2 or 3 days. And some people might experience crying off and on for a couple of days because you're releasing something that was, in your DNA maybe, right? Mm-hmm. So don't take it personally. Just let it go, and don't try to figure it out. Don't figure it out. Let your body do the work.
That's a great point, that it does take a few days to integrate often. And there's a couple of video links to YouTube. One's healing with whales and dolphins, and one's a whole body regeneration. And these are just videos and audios that you can play to just help integrate and work through that time, and just be really kind and nurturing on yourself after the processes today. So that was a great point. Thank you, Janine.
Okay, and again, folks, that's beyondmystic.net/Medina. You'll find all of those links there, including a coupon code if you want a healing session, a personal healing session with Medina. Okay, I think we're ready to start. And I just realized now, maybe I should have asked Janine that question a little bit earlier on, because I saw a few comments in the chat earlier. There was already some people having this difficulty with some of the conversation. I understand that. At some point it is what it is, and we do our best here to try to navigate that as best possible. And I know, as Medina was just saying, she uses her words very carefully here, and we're attempting to do that. And this is why we took this time here to do this preamble for the audience here, who are maybe just catching up to this topic and who are just recognizing that perhaps they are very much part of it themselves. So thank you, everyone. Medina, you're back on the screen. The microphone is yours.
Well, I'd love to start by just acknowledging our original people. So I'd like to begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today throughout Australia, and also where you are, JC and Janine in Canada, and to pay our respects to the elders past and present, extending also our respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. To me, that's really an important part of the healing as well. So when I do energetic work like this, I always like personally to set up a beautiful sacred temple space. So I'm just going to run through some ideas of some things and ways that we can set it up. I've already, done some work on this prior to the session today, but I'd like to start by saying I bless myself, and you can, people listening can just internally do this as I work through it. So I bless myself and I bless everyone here with purified divine source light, and so be it, it is done. So just, blessing yourself with that beautiful light. I'm setting up a gentle cocooning, nurturing space so that this work is much more easily integrated in a gentle way. So we call in the God creational energies, purified divine source energy, the Alpha and Omega, the company of heaven. We call in our higher self, our highest guides and teachers of love and light to work with us today, the legions of light. I like to call in Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion, to surround us and work with us today. If it guided, call in your angelic team. I personally love to work with angelic energies. That's how I work. And I love to always include the saints and the archangels like Archangel Michael and the legions of Michael and Michaela, very beautiful protective energies. Calling in the councils of Elohim, of divine grace, divine love, divine essence, divine beauty, divine truth, divine innocence, to surround and work with us. Love to call in our spiritual masters that we resonate with. And, everyone has their own that they will identify. I personally love to call in the Christ consciousness energies and the Mother Mary energies. Ask them to enfold a nurturing cocoon energy of unconditional loving support around us, and also a cocoon of manageable integration to allow us to integrate the work we do here today in a manageable way that's manageable for our soul. And that can be obviously, different for every person. So that's a great one to call in. I love to work with dolphin and whale energies. Where I live, we have dolphins that swim around here. And there is a dolphin star, higher temple council of the light from Mount Shasta, which I like to call in to create a sacred healing space of highest divine truth, wisdom, unconditional love, harmony, balance, clarity, grace, mercy, peace, compassion, abundance, where only those seeking these qualities may enter, and so it is. I like to call in the galactic family of light, who are really on call at the moment to work with us and help us. Call in our blessed Mother Earth, Goddess Gaia energies to work with us. And in the name of our free will, I am presence, we'd love to do this work today. And you can ask those energies to even permanently, be surrounding you at the moment as you're going through your own personal journey of evolution and ascension. The other thing that I love is to work from the heart space. So when we're in the mind or the mental body, we're caught up there, we're in a lower frequency. It's often much more concerned with survival. It's a survival mechanism, and it can also bring us into fear and low vibrational energies. So really bringing our energies continually at the moment into that unconditionally divine, loving heart space is a really fantastic thing to be mindful of all the time. And so I'd like to ask for everyone today who is involved in this practice, and this could be through all times, and there is no linear time, so anyone that ever connects to this, we'll all be connecting in the same way, and just asking everyone to go into their heart space, which is a center of divine unconditional love, and it's a beautiful energy where it's like, it feels a bit like a bubble energy for me, and asking this energy to surround and embrace us through this process today. The other good thing to do is to ground your energy. Make sure your energy is grounded. When we're in a state of pain or uncomfortableness, we often go up straight out of the body, and we become very ungrounded. And our point of being able to really shift through this process, it helps to be really grounded. And so to visualize grounding roots from your feet going into the earth, and a grounding cord, whatever color you're guided, wrapping around the core of the earth. Another great technique is just to tap your cheekbones, and that again brings your energy straight down and grounds you really easily and quickly. So So now I'd like to also mention that even in the midst of everything that we're going through on the planet, through this process of where there's an unfolding of all the darkness, so all the karma, the darkness is coming up to be seen, everything is becoming unhidden. There is also this incredible raising of frequency happening. So there's more and more light that we can access with our healing work, and that we can tap into this energy to really propel our evolution forward in a much quicker way. And so that's really positive and really exciting gift that's happening, because as in quantum physics, as the darkness comes out on one end, the light also extends, and it's like this if you're understanding, it's equal in both directions. So there is a much more ability to grow as a soul right now than ever before, and that's an opportunity. So really good to remember that we can access those high frequency energies and the light now more than ever before in our spiritual work. So with the power center, the solar plexus, which is in the middle of our body, above our belly button, below our rib cage, our solar plexus is an important point from which to do this work as well, because this is our center of empowerment. We're learning to empower ourselves both as individuals right now, stepping out of enslavement, control structures, all those sorts of paradigms, into full sovereignty and full empowerment. And so this is very much reflected by the power center. So when you're doing this work, and when you're speaking, for example, speak from the power center, and even placing our hand on our power center can be really helpful when we do this work as well. And visualizing a beautiful yellow sun as well in the power center is a lovely thing to do. So one of the first techniques I like to start with is the ultraviolet purple flame. And this is one of the most powerful tools we can work with on Earth, I believe, at the moment. And this is a violet flame of transmutation. And it can help you to transmute everything quickly and easily, both for yourself and for the planet. So I'm just going to say these words. In the name of the free will, I am presence, I am. I ask to place around me an ultraviolet purple flame to transmute anything which no longer serves me. And just visualizing that ultraviolet purple flame around yourself, transmuting anything which is no longer of your vibration. Perhaps you're picking up other people's energies, other energies around you. And then I like to also use this technique to transmute energy collectively on the planet. And if you could visualize the impact of this, you would be probably astounded at how powerful it is. But again, in the name of the free will, I am presence, I am, I ask to place around the entire world an ultraviolet purple flame to transmute anything which no longer serves the highest good of all concerned. And when you've done that, we're going to go to a very high vibrational tool called the Golden Sword of Truth. This is Archangel Michael's Sword of Truth, and it's only one that can be held if you hold a certain level of integrity. If you're too low vibration, it's hard to sustain or maintain holding this tool. So, and you know, there is no judgment in this. Everyone's at the level they're supposed to be, but it's a beautiful, beautiful tool to work with at the moment. So I want everyone to just ask to hold Archangel Michael's Golden Sword of Truth, envisaging holding this sword. And what you do at the same time is you physically cut away from your body, aura, and hologram anything which is holding you in the old structures of 3D structures of servitude, enslavement, control structures, and anything which limits your God-given inherent freedom. We're going to cut away with this Golden Sword of Truth as I say these words. So imagine holding it. You can start at the bottom of your body or an hologram and just cutting away as I say these words. In the name of the free will, I am presence, I am. I cut away anything from my body, aura, and hologram that has held me in servitude, enslavement, control structures, or limits my God-given inherent freedoms in any way. I proclaim I do not consent, I do not consent, I do not consent. I am free, I am free, I am free. And so be it, it is done. And then again, we can use that technique on behalf of humanity to do the same visualization. So holding this high vibrational tool of the Golden Sword of Truth and saying these words. In the name of the free will, I am presence, I am. I cut away anything from my Mother Earth and humanity, anything that has held us in servitude, enslavement, control structures, or limits our God-given inherent freedoms in any way. We proclaim as a collective voice, I do not consent to any limitation in our God-given freedoms. I do not consent to any limitation in our God-given freedoms. I do not consent to any limitation in our God-given freedoms. We are free, we are free, we are free. And so be it, it is done. You might even visualize, you know, cords being cut and any sort of ties that are, sometimes they can be seen as sort of like a sticky blue energy just being cut and transmuted. And it's really good when we've done these techniques to reground our energy again as we go through. So just expanding back into the body, tapping cheekbones, and then grounding your cords, cord into the earth, wrapping around the core of the earth and grounding roots. And it's like renewing your energy each time that we do a technique. And now we're going to do a technique with the Lords of Karma. So the wonderful thing is the Earth's at such a vibrational frequency now that we can actually ask for karmic releases and dispensations rather than having to physically trawl through the 3D karma, which is really exciting. It's, again, a wonderful opportunity to just ask. And, you know, going through the physical processes of that karma can often be, you know, very long-winded and that sort of thing. And now we can just transmute things by just asking. And so it's a great blessing. And I would like to call in the Lords of Karma, and these beings are to be, treated with the highest respect and reverence. So we're just going to invite the Lords of Karma to be with us now, and just wait and get a sense of the energy as they come in. Good to really attune yourself to different energies and become really familiar with your own energy and with how your energy is feeling. And you'll probably receive some sort of perception of them. If not, just trust your intuition that they're here with us. And you've called them in. And we're going to ask the Lords of Karma for some karmic releases and dispensations from all patterns of templates of enslavement and control structures through all lifetimes. Taking a few deep breaths. Dear Lords of Karma, in the name of the free will I am presence I am, I do not consent to any forms of enslavement, restriction, or of God-given sovereignty on this planet, both for myself and all souls. So may I please have a complete karmic release and dispensation from all enslavement and control structure paradigms, through all the levels and all the bodies, through all the lifetimes, including the present lifetime, and bring the healing into the present now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you can just ask them and say, Dear Lords of Karma, may I please have this karmic release now? And you'll get a yes or no coming into your third eye. And if you get a yes, the process is complete. Just asking. And if you get a no, you can ask what you need to know or do in order to have this process completed. And similarly, I'd like to ask for another karmic release and dispensation. Dear Lords of Karma, may I please have a complete karmic release and dispensation from all soul trauma and soul wounding, through all the levels and all the bodies, through all the lifetimes, including the present lifetime, to heal all the damage and bring the healing into the present now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And just again, you can ask the Lords of Karma, may I please have this karmic release and dispensation? And just see if you get a yes or a no. If no, you can ask for more information. And thanking the Lords of Karma for this. And just again, regrounding your energy with your grounding roots, your grounding cord, just tapping your cheekbones. And remember to breathe as well. The breath is so important, just breathing deeply throughout this process. And I'd like to do a beautiful technique. Again, it's a visualization and it's very gentle for soul wounding and trauma healing. So we just like to start by calling in some chambers of light. These chambers of light are really beautiful ways that we can easily transmute energies. And you can ask for chambers of light for whatever, you're guided. So you can ask for a fear release chamber of light, soul wounding release chamber of light, a trauma release chamber of light, emotional release chamber of light, karma release chamber of light, whatever chamber of light you need. As Janine mentioned before, there might be some resistance with people. You can ask for a resistance release chamber of light, just to release that resistance. Whenever there is resistance, then there's always, something to learn. When you're neutral and you're in emotional non-attachment, and there's clarity, then you've learned the lesson. You don't need to continue. So the aspects of self are things that happen when we have soul wounding. So we're going to call in the aspects of ourself and do some healing on that. And this relates to everything that, you've been talking about in terms of the child trafficking and things like that. So feel yourself starting by centering yourself in your heart flame of divine unconditional love. Centering your energy there, you might see a beautiful flame just expanding around your body, an aura. And I just want you to ask to go to a huge football field or sporting field, visualizing this field. And imagine encircling this field in a huge cocooning and nurturing energy of divine unconditional love. You might see it symbolically as a beautiful pink or a green in color, which are the heart chakra colors. Just surrounding this field in this beautiful, supportive energy. And I'd like to ask you to start by calling in all aspects of your soul, all aspects of yourself, from all the levels and all the bodies, from all the timelines and lifetimes, including the present lifetime, and ask these aspects of yourself to stand in this field. And these aspects are all aspects where you have been enslaved or controlled or had any loss of God-given freedom. And just invite these aspects of self to stand in this field in front of you. And you're emanating from your center of divine unconditional love. So all the lifetimes where you were potentially, there was child trafficking, or maybe you were a witch being burned at the stake, which happened for 15 generations. So there's a long legacy of that in our soul memory. Any sort of form of enslavement or persecution. Ask any aspects of your soul that are holding that soul wounding or soul trauma to come and stand in that field, and just you're emanating love towards them. And I'd ask you to visualize and ask for a divine white purifying source light to pour all over these aspects from above. This light is helping to heal and transmute trauma and wounding. You might feel the energy shifting and transmuting. Asking internally, I ask to release all blockages, cords, ego attachments and mindsets relating to my soul wounding or trauma, which no longer serve my highest good. I ask for them to be transmuted into the light now. Remembering that there are no victims. Everything that we experience is chosen for a reason. And giving thanks now for any lessons learned. If you need to send forgiveness for self or forgiveness to others, this is also a really important part of our soul's evolution. And when we step into forgiveness, it allows us to personally go into a space of pure grace. And it really propels our soul evolution. And one powerful way that we can work with the forgiveness is to utilize the Ho'oponopono prayer, which is, please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. I love you. And this can be both for ourselves and for others. As we know, others are merely a mirror reflection of our own, how we feel about ourselves and our own, where we are in our own soul evolution. So the words as we work with that forgiveness are, please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. I love you. You might want to also see yourself standing in the field. And to all those aspects of self, please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. I love you. Any family members too, that's a wonderful one to work with at the moment, or friends, or anybody in our network that we've felt there's been a separation in energy or a division through everything that's unfolding in the world. That's a beautiful technique to work with daily, as a daily practice. The Hawaiian people often do it at night before bed so that their slate is clear when they go to sleep at night. So that's a wonderful thing to do. And now we're going to work with these aspects and what's called a rainbow bridge. So all these aspects that are standing in the field that are holding any fear, trauma, pain, soul wounding, judgment, we want to reunite with them in unity. So I want you to see a rainbow bridge of light forming from the field across into your heart flame. And I want you to invite all the aspects that are in that field that are ready to walk across this rainbow bridge into the flame in your heart of divine unconditional love. All the aspects that have experienced, lifetimes of enslavement or persecution, you're now ready to reunite with them in unity. And as they do this and walk across that bridge, there is great healing. Breathing deeply, I ask the Lord Maitreya to bring down the Tzolk'in wheel, the time wheel, to pass through these aspects and bring everything into the now time. We ask for all the angels and spiritual masters to help with this healing. We ask the great director of the karmic board to lift all karmic patterning, and you might see holographic layers lifting as you do this work. See and feel these aspects of your soul reuniting with you in your heart in unity. Feel the energy of that, breathing deeply. For any parts that are not ready to reunite with you yet and do not want to cross the bridge, at this time we call forth the divine creator and ask all aspects that are left to go to the city of light, to the sleep and dream chambers of light, to be placed in a love cocoon so they can remember the love being that they are. And if this is the case for you, please remember to ask to go to the cities of light, sleep and dream chambers at night, so these aspects, when healed, can return to you in this chamber and reunite with you. You can ask for a love healing cocoon of integration to place around yourself. And just asking for this next internal shift with these words. I now ask to clear and raise all incorrect energy or soul wounding affecting myself, relating to all bodies, levels and timelines, lifetimes, including the current lifetime, and bring the healing into the present now. I ask that all incorrect energy be bound to the light and transposed into positive energy for the highest good of all concerned. I thank guidance and source that this be done, and so be it. It is done. And just a little healing for our beautiful children on the planet and for the original people on this planet as well, just to finish. Starting with ourselves, in the name of the free will I am presence I am, I ask to place Archangel Michael's ring pass knot of God's first cause of perfection, which is an invincible circle of white lightning around myself. I ask for the highest levels of protection to surround myself at all times, and ask that my free will must not be impinged. I ask for all the legions and guardians of light and the galactic family of light to surround and protect me. I enclose all of myself in an individual seal of white light and protection at all times for the highest good of all concerned. And for the children, in the name of the free will I am presence I am, I ask to place Archangel Michael's ring pass knot of God's first cause of perfection, which is an invincible circle of white lightning around all children on this planet to protect them. We ask for the highest levels of protection to surround our children at all times, and ask that their free will must not be impinged. We ask for all the legions and guardians of light and our galactic family of light to surround and protect them, and to neutralize any damage created by dark energies or medical procedures in any way. We enclose all mentioned in an individual seal of white light and protection at all times for the highest good of all concerned. And this puts them actually into their own power center when you put them into their own individual seal of white light and protection as well. So it empowers them. And also for the original people on the planet, who we're very mindful of at the moment. You know, their ancestral DNA bloodline is so important to the evolution of the planet, and we asked for the highest levels of protection for them as well. In the name of the free will, I am presence I am, I ask to place Archangel Michael's ring pass knot of God's first cause of perfection, which is an invincible circle of white lightning around all our original and indigenous people from this planet who have been targeted for their pure DNA, ancestral bloodlines and knowledge. We ask for the highest levels of protection to surround our original and indigenous brothers and sisters at all times, and ask that their free will must not be impinged. We ask for all the legions and guardians of light and our galactic family of light to surround and protect them, to neutralize any damage created by the dark energies or medical procedures in any way. We enclose all mentioned in individual seals of white light and protection at all times for the highest good of all concerned. It is done, and so be it. Just a couple more things to finish. I ask that all souls on Mother Earth be awakened now to the truth of our reality in a manageable way, which they can integrate successfully in a way that supports the highest good of all concerned. And I know that I was listening to Sherry Divban chatting to JC earlier, and she was talking about, you know, the beings that are working for the light are very concerned about the whole disclosure process. And so that it doesn't impact the collective, you know, people in you know, detrimental ways. So when you ask for it to be integrated in a manageable way for all souls, that can also help with that intention. I now ask to clear and erase all incorrect energy affecting humanity, all life forms and souls on Earth and Mother Earth. I ask that all incorrect energy be bound to the light and transposed into positive energy for the highest good of all concerned. I thank guidance and source that this be done, and so be it. It is done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to everybody who participated in this in all timelines. Your contribution is greatly, deeply appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
A big thank you to you, Medina, for guiding us so professionally through this meditation and healing session. Quite fabulous. And it was funny, I hadn't prepared any of those slides. And as soon as you started talking, I was just like, oh yeah, I'll find pictures that works with this, because I know a lot of our audience are very visual. And it turns out to be a beautiful aid along here to this discussion. So a big thank you. That was amazing. Janine, do you want to pull some cards here to see? We had talked about this earlier, that after this healing session, we might pull some cards to see, well, one, how did we affect the field here? Because there's 4,000 people in the chat. That's a lot of people bringing their energy. And I know for a fact that a lot of people in this chat are already very high vibe. So when they get together to do these meditations, I'm curious to see what impact we have with each other, which I know is actually more than we could ever possibly imagine at this time.
Yeah. So can I just say something that happened while we were doing the meditation?
Did you see the orb? Is that what you're going to say?
No, I didn't see the orb. But I got really, it felt like I was floating instead of grounding, because I'm usually really grounded. So I went the opposite way. I was just floating. And I kept smelling all these smells, good smells, thank goodness, but reminding me of certain people, like my mom. My mom, I had a dream about her one time, and she was an inquisitioner and signed the papers that put me to death in one of my lifetimes. My mom. Yeah. And she's totally into the Pope. She still loves the Pope. And she's a huge Catholic, like just loves the Catholic Church. It's going to be devastating for her if she's still around when that all comes out, because, you know, she's in her 80s. So who knows? But yeah, I could smell when you had us in the field, and I can't remember what part, but I smelt wild roses, and I knew it was about my mom because she loves wild roses. So all of these things kept coming. All my senses were working. As you were talking, my intuition was working with what you were saying to guide me even further in my healing. It's amazing.
Oh, beautiful. And everyone, for everyone, that will be a different process. And that's why it's really good to practice the process of being attuned to the energy around you. Because, you know, as they say, everything is energy, and we can co-create the reality and the, you know, the world we want through utilizing the knowledge of how to work with energy. And a lot of this is lost ancestral knowledge that we have known before, but we just have been you know, deprogrammed from really being able to empower ourselves with this knowledge and wisdom.
Very, very good. And when you first started, I took this image and I didn't have a spot to put it in, but I wanted to share it now before Janine pulls the card. You were talking about healing on the energetic level as opposed to trying to address physicality. And as soon as you said that, I had the image downloaded in my mind of a projector and a screen. So I want to show this to the audience. When you're working on physicality, you're addressing the physical part here on the screen. You can change a lot more if you're changing the energy that is projecting on that physical plane. This is what energy healing is all about. And this is how I visualize what you were just saying there, Medina.
That's a great metaphor, yes. And it helps to have these metaphors or analogies to be able to really, for each person, perceive how it works. So it's great.
Yeah, very good. Okay, Janine.
Wow. So I'll just show you. So you guys know I do a kachina knife. So the first card I pulled was this. This is for us. So everybody collectively what we did here. So there's lots of layers and people will have individual experiences, but we just picked up on the collective right now. So this is a very practical, it could be about healing because it's a pentacle. And this guy carefully, slowly works towards a better self. Okay, especially if you're talking about a healing thing, right? So this was what, you know, one approach, or we were all together collectively taking an approach towards. So we're actually working on something together. And then this card was across from it. So we start here as a knight, and we, by the time she was finished, were kings. So in other words, we all of us collectively grounded, even though I felt floating. Okay, but I feel so peaceful. So there was a collective grounding in the fact that we are powerful, because the King of Pentacles is very powerful. He has his own financial, he takes care of himself and others. He's an incredible, generous being. It's like we went from kind of working on this healing to getting to a whole nother level just through the meditation. So we're on another level from where we started, just in the meditation. And in the past, interesting. So we had all these three are the pentacle suit. Sorry, there. So in the past, we had the Queen of Pentacles. It's because the whole group was so receptive. So I'm sure there was one or two that were fidgety or didn't feel the energy. But as generally speaking, everybody, all of these thousands of people together are really receptive. She allows something to come in. So we've gone a long way, not only in our healing to ground ourselves, but also to become more empowered in this whole situation we're sitting in, which sometimes we don't feel powerful in, right? But actually, we're totally at the center of the power. We are the power. That's why we're sought after and vamped on. Okay, so we just, maybe we all had a little glimpse of how powerful we are. Okay, so, and this card was in the middle of so the two pentacle cards, this one was in the middle, this was past, and these were on the sides of this. Whoops. So the Six of Swords in the middle, we moved out of troubled water. So we let go of a whole lot of stuff. Okay, we got a bigger glimpse of that we're souls living in a body, and we don't need to carry baggage. And we don't need to stay in lockdowns. They're in our mind. It's all an illusion. The more I don't wear a mask and don't follow the protocol, but don't care and don't apologize, the more everybody leaves me alone, by the way. Okay, we created an illusion so we can evolve and step out of slavery we put ourselves in by allowing these guys to think they're enslaved us. We're too magical to be enslaved. They don't have a clue what they're up against. We're not having it. Okay, so the outcome was we put these guys, so the deep state dark cult, the people enslaving us over lifetimes, we put them on notice. 2 aces. We completely flipped the narrative. Okay, so we are the power now. We're in power. We're the power over these guys. Okay, that's why tribunals are going to happen. That's why they're good. Exactly what Ricardo
Rossi.
Yeah.
Bossi. Ricardo Bossi. Yeah.
Bossi, that guy. Okay, he's been saying, okay, we're calling you guys to justice, and you better be put on notice. Let's all feel like that and rise up in our personal power inside ourselves and watch what happens. These guys literally melt. They're going to melt.
Yes, when you ask for the highest good of all concerned, that's really, really powerful, because it is taken care of in the way that it's meant to, and it's all in divine alignment, and it's just a beautiful way to ask. The dark, we're non-attached to their outcome on a level, because it's taken care of, and so we can release that and just be in what we wanted to get to is a point of neutrality, so we're not emotionally impacted, but we can just rise up in our frequency.
Yeah, very good. There's quite a few people saying we must do this again, so I agree. And Patricia, no, somebody else is asking. Wait, hold on, I just lost it. Oh, Laura, will this be on replay anywhere? Yes, we are simulcasting both on Sending Ravens and on my channel right now. So of course, right after the show, you'll be able to access this again. Just go to our main page. Sometimes it takes 5 minutes to render the file, but you'll be able to see there the full video for tonight. Wow. Okay. Janine, any last words from the cards? You want to close that up, or you're pretty much there?
Well, I just wanted to say that what Medina is saying so resonates with, is resonate the right word? Resonate.
Resignation is something
about English words.
Always ask the French guy about the English words. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it feels really good to, when I'm really in the spirit part, things like technical details like words really don't work too good for me. But anyway, so what feels like is so powerful is just saying those words for the good of everyone. Okay, opening it up and letting the universe decide what's best for your growth. You don't know for sure, so not to covet a certain outcome or a way that you want to feel. Just let the universe decide, because it'll come up with something even better than you could have. That's what I did when I found this home. I just said, I want the best place for both me and my son. I thought I was moving to Vancouver. I ended up buying a house in a neighborhood I normally would have never looked at twice, and finding just the perfect neighbors, the perfect little house for the perfect price. Everything just really fit, like sometimes leaving it up to the universe. And that was really powerful in that meditation. And yeah, I think that's exactly what we need to do.
And I can say that I did a similar thing, Janine, with where I'm living too, because I visualized for a year living on the beach, and I thought, how on earth is that going to ever manifest? Because, I haven't got millions of dollars to buy, property, but I put it out there. I visualized it, and it was incredible, because we found this rental property, and it actually had its own private beach on a tropical island. And here rentals are at a premium, really hard to get rentals. You go to view a rental property and there's, 30, 40 people vying for the same rental. So it's really hard to get properties. And we went to this particular rental with its own beach that I'd been visualizing, and there was literally nobody there. It was just us. We manifested it in 2 days, and it's exactly what I have always dreamed of. We overlook a beautiful lagoon with yachts, from our balcony, and it's just absolutely dreamy, and that's all through visualization.
Very good. Well, Medina, I have to say, you're getting a lot of love in the chat. So many comments are scrolling by, and of course, there's 4,000 of you in here. It's going too fast for me to pull them up all on the screen. So, folks, I want you to remember, of course, if you want to have a personal session, healing session with Medina, you can avail yourself here of the coupon code for the Beyond Mystic audience. That'll give you 10% off. I believe it was 10% off. Is that what you said?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, very good. And you can do so.
Thank you so much to all the beautiful comments. I'm just giving you all big hugs, and I really appreciate it. And you're such a beautiful group of people, because, you know, I always read the comments and live chats on these shows, and it's a beautiful energy. So
we have an amazing community here. Yes. Also, folks, you'll see the link now in the live chat. And if you're watching this on replay, also, I'll make sure, if it's not already there, but I believe it's there, I will put that in the description box below this video, and also at the pinned comments. People send me emails all the time. Where's the link, JC? It's in the pinned comments. Don't worry. We'll put it there right after the show. Okay. One last thing. I can't forget also, Medina prepared this slide here. Okay. So this is the song, Stand Strong. Let me bring that up on the screen. I'll also bring the link down for the audience here. Okay, I'll play this in the background. Medina, please set this up a little bit. What are we looking at here, and how can this help in the context of what we just did here today?
Sure, absolutely. Well, you know, nothing happens by accident. And the most incredible epiphany came to me with this song when I was, you know, told that I was doing this show. And I channeled the song. I brought it through about 15 years ago, but it really is for this now moment. And the words are incredibly pertinent to someone who has experienced, you know, child trafficking, enslavement, persecution of any kind. The song is called Stand Strong, and it basically is about the process of when someone is trying to attack you or damage you in some way on the physical body. They may impact your physical vehicle, but your soul is always remaining whole. They can't break your soul, even though they may try to impact the physical vehicle, the physical body. And that's what the song's about. One of the words is, though your body may be broken, your spirit will stay whole. And so I realized that it really actually relates to specifically things like, you know, child trafficking. And in this video, we had a beautiful Australian film director contact us, and he asked if we could, if he could use this song to make a video, because he found the song was very powerful. And so the metaphor or the analogy of this video, again, it's perfect for what's happening in the world at the moment. So this woman, as you can see, she's in this deep dark forest, and she's sort of stuck, and she's like, she doesn't know how to get out, and she's running through the forest, and she's feeling lost and alone and, you know, isolated. And then towards the end of the clip, she comes out of the forest and she walks into the light. And that's really a metaphor for everything that we're going through on the planet at the moment. You know, we're going through this phase that can feel very heavy and very dark, but we're actually nearing the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're about to break out of that tunnel and into the light. So it really is a perfect analogy, both the video and the content of the song, the words of the song. And it sort of has an interesting, it could sound a little, it's not a really light song. It's quite a strong song, and it's quite heavy, but that is the energy that's holding, because it is from a soul who has been through enslavement and has been through potentially, you know, child trafficking in the dumps or whatever. So the energy of the song is very strong, and you'll be able to feel that with the song when you listen to it. And in fact, I've got to add a final piece too, because when I realized all this and I listened to the song again just the other day in context of everything we're doing today and everything, I just burst into tears. I was just crying. And the healing that comes through the song is quite powerful for exactly the context of what we're working with now. So isn't it amazing the way the universe works? This song came through 15 years ago, and it's for now, this now moment. So what an incredible gift. So thank you.
I think a lot of us were prepared 15, 20 years ago for this exact time. We've all been in training for this. And I have to say, too, listening to the sound earlier and prepping the slide board for the slide deck for this show, I thought, wow, what an angelic voice. How appropriate for this show here tonight. So big compliments to you on this. Is also amazing. Okay, so folks, don't forget, this MP3 is also free for you guys on that download page, beyondmystic.net/Medina. Very good. All right. Medina, how can we support you? What can we do? What can the audience do? Of course, they can book a session with you, but is there any other way to support you, or what's coming up on your YouTube channel maybe that you want to cue the audience here in terms of energy work you're doing, but also maybe new guests coming on the show or new interviews that you're booked for here in the next little while?
Well, I do a soul healing for Australia group on Zoom every Tuesday night. And so if people are interested in contributing to that, we do a whole range of different techniques to help shift what's happening in Australia at the moment. It's all universal service, so there's no payment. And, we're finding that we're able to do some amazing work on an energetic level. We did a healing on forgiveness, and one of the ladies was doing it with the media last night, and she saw a great sort of shift and transmutation in what was happening with the media through this process that she worked on. And so we can do enormous work and shift everything so much quicker through this type of work than just physically having to experience everything that's happening.
Okay, very good. So folks, please do remember to go like, share, and subscribe here to Arise Humanity. I've just placed a link now in the live chat, and of course, it's also in the description box below. Well, thank you so much, Medina. Really appreciate that. And how about you, Janine? Words of wisdom here to close out the show for these beautiful people in our live chat here tonight. Uh-oh, I think you're frozen, Janine.
Yeah, I'm feeling all spacey in a good way.
You were frozen there for a moment.
A soap bath after this. Okay. Wow. I got to say something really interesting, and I don't know if this has happened to anybody else out there in the world of the viewers, but I feel like my third eye is like really present. I can almost see it. Like it feels like it's right there, and I'm using it really clearly. It's like, yeah, wow. My intuition's like just going crazy here. Okay,
so I had orbs here earlier during the show too, and I kept going, was that me? What, when we were doing the violet flame and also the golden sword, I was seeing orbs here in the room, and I've never seen them here while I'm doing a show. So that was just
beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like I just wanted the universe to chime in, just because we're closing up here, and I just wanted to see what we got. I get that we're so close to success, not to so there's a lot of inner fighting. We've heard that truthers going after each other, just silliness going on all over the place. And a lot of people drop, like even the comments, I noticed they're saying things like, there's no red October, nothing's happening, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, be so mindful, all of us. And I think Medina really reminded us of what we're speaking, thinking, and intending, because it's actually doing all the work for us. But if we're speaking, visualizing, and intending, nothing's working out. It's like, this is all BS, and we're all just going to be enslaved forever. Well, if that's what the reality you want to create, well, you just go ahead and say that. But please don't write it in my comments, because I don't want to. That's not what I'm trying to manifest. We need to actually work together to manifest our true destined future together. And we can, and it can be beautiful, but and we're not just hopium. This is real. We can literally, I've manifested everything in my whole life up until right now, and through a lot of hurdles, but just worked right through them by just working on myself. As soon as I bumped into something hard, I looked inward at what the heck's, what do I got to learn from this? And then just like, okay. And every time I figured the lesson out, it all shifted. We're all going to shift this.
That's a brilliant point, Janine, because we are totally masters of manifestation. To be even given permission to be on the planet at this time, there were many souls that wanted to come in and be here through this process, but it was considered that they didn't have perhaps the skills to be able to contribute in the way that was going to be most profound for the ascension of the planet. So the fact that we're even here in a body at this time on the planet through this transition means we are spiritual masters, and we totally forget how incredibly infinite, what infinite beings, what divine potential we have, and we have a ceiling on everything we envisage for ourselves, but there is no ceiling, and we are masters at the highest level, and really need to honor ourselves and acknowledge ourselves for that, and just try to tap in the feeling of how that feels within our own being, of feeling that we are, and it's not about ego, but it's about just being able to feel our true divine unlimited potential.
All right, absolutely. All right, folks, if you want to see that episode that Janine and I produced yesterday on exposing SRA, you can find that on our pay-per-view here at beyondmystic.net/pay-per-view. And I encourage you to check out some of the other amazing videos here that Janine and I produce. If you're not aware of these already, we do one show at least a week, and sometimes some of these more expansive deep dives on things that we can't talk about here on YouTube. So please do check that out. And if you're already there and you're like, okay, I really like this and I want to stay connected with you guys, please check out the coupon code here, Stay Connected. That'll give you 10% off of the Insider Access Pass. This is the annual pass. And of course, please do remember to like, share, and subscribe here at Tarot by Janine on YouTube, on Sending Ravens, and also here at Jean-Claude at Beyond Mystic 3. And join us tomorrow night for the live stream with Janine here. So this was the amazing Trauma Soul Healing with Medina and Janine. I love you guys. Let me get this thing off from my face there. There you go. And I'm back here. All right. I love you guys. Merci beaucoup, Medina. Merci beaucoup, Janine. You guys are absolutely fabulous. And thank you so much, everyone in the live chat. You guys make all the difference in the world, and you honor us by being here on each of our shows. We absolutely love you and adore you. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Au revoir.
Au revoir.